The first experience I had that was very strange, of many, was in 1972. I was living in Venice, California. I had about a year or two of trying to get back on my feet. I had some real life-changing events that took place. I ended up homeless in New York City somewhere around 69, 70 for a period of maybe 6 months, with lots of strange adventures there too. I'd never been in that circumstance in my entire life before, so I viewed it as an adventure, and that helped me to get through a lot of things. And I kind of was reestablishing myself, trying to get my life back in order. And I've been a songwriter for many, many, many years, and I was sitting in this apartment in Venice, California, where I was living, and had my yellow tablet and pen or pencil. Thought I was about to start writing a song lyric, and I literally heard, "I am your future self, come to you across a bridge of time, built by others like you, that you may know you're an eternal being." And I went, "What? What's that?" And I sat there, and then I literally heard description of 3 separate modalities that had to do with healing technologies that I'm hearing I will come to see in my lifetime be manifest. And I'm writing all this stuff down. The first one is going to be a form of, how to call it? It said it would be similar to biofeedback, where people would learn that every organ and state of health could have a frequency ascribed to it. And much the same as we already had biofeedback, people would learn to tune themselves to these different frequencies and to be able to raise their health and all these things, and could do this with machines as well and stuff. Second one had to do with medicine of the future that would have to do with light and sound being administered to the body and to the energy body, such as also energy body, acupuncture meridians, whatever, and that futuristically speaking, there could be these chambers where a person would come in and their energy fields would be shown, just like a planetarium around them, and technician healers would be able to just read all this stuff and then apply the vibrations and frequencies and whatever to it. The third one basically described full-blown holographic virtual reality without glasses, whereby a person would be able to interact with the holograms of other people, known, unknown to them, historical, mythological figures, etc., and work on different probable interactions, have a computer and a chair in their home with sensors built in. 1972, I didn't know what computers particularly were. And all this stuff, and I'm going, oh, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? So basically, wrote it down, and it stuck with me for a long time. In 1985, one day, I hear, "Get a video camera." I said, "I don't need a video camera." "Get a video camera." Don't need a video camera. I said, "That's 3 times. I'm getting a video camera." I went down to the store in Santa Monica and bought a Kyocera video camera. As soon as I had it in my hands, I thought, "Oh, I'm supposed to do future self sessions with people." Of course. It's like, well, why wasn't I thinking? So I'm driving home, and I've got a notepad, and I'm making notes. By the time I get home, it wasn't all that long to get back from there to where I lived. I already had the layout. I had the layout for future self sessions. And I called this woman I knew, and I said to her, "Susan, come on over, I want to do a future self session on you." "What's that?" "It's something you want to do, have, or become that you haven't accomplished yet. You come, have an idea, I'll do the rest." So she did, I did, we did, and she was like my first future self person. I did this with video, and it's an interactive process whereby I could give them back this video of themselves. They could not only watch it, they could interact with themselves in a couple of unique ways. Well, I did a bunch of these. I did this on a woman who wanted to be a citizen diplomat between the U.S. and what was the USSR at the time. She came back 6-8 months later, gave me a video testimony. Yes, I accomplished that. There was, there was a guy I still know, lives in Canada, who wanted to do a video in the UFO channeling field and all this stuff, Phil McCaney up in Canada. We did the process. He came back gave the testimony, holding the video. Then there was a guy who was a background singer. Is a background singer for, fairly well-known people at the time. Good, at least mid-range rock and rollers and all. And he said, I want to do background for Michael Jackson. I said, great, we'll do a session. And it was really interesting because this guy's a real bright guy, real live wire. During the session, he starts talking about his kid because there's certain questions in the session that you start to access things for yourself. It's not for me. So we do that, and just as soon as we're done with it, the phone rings. It's his son in Detroit. He hadn't heard from him in a long time. Son decided to call him right at the moment. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff is swirling around here, so let's keep going. So I forgot, we finished the session. It was really great. A year later, I get a call from him. Hey, Michael, you remember me, Daryl? I said, yeah, Daryl, how you doing? Real good. I said, yeah. He says, I just got back from Japan. I said, yeah, really? He said, I sang background for Michael Jackson. And this was one that it blew my mind because he took the time, because he worked with this thing. He just kept working with this process to get himself to that place. And I thought, this is really good. People can really benefit. But then I thought, I can't just do everybody in the world. So I moved on, I'm always moving on to new stuff. And it's like this morning, just to jump back, I happened to pull out my old invention book, and I won't go through everything that's in there. Boy, pretty amazing. But I came upon my 1976 invention, documented, all this stuff, dated and everything, the inflatable travel collar. I had a prototype made. I tried to get that manufactured. I didn't know how to get it manufactured. And it's, there's a million a month, and I thought, it's another one. I've got a lot of those stories. But this thing, future self. So a couple of years back, I was with a friend of mine in New Mexico who was a top doctor at a big hospital there. And his birthday's the same same as mine, maybe a 30-something year difference. And I'm talking to him about it, and he said, yeah, you probably you'll have to develop software or something. I said, yeah, but I don't know how to do that. So, somewhere in August, or in June, I happened to mention Future Self in my blog, and people were asking, tell us about that experience. And I thought, I'll see if people's attention span is so short, maybe I can get by without telling them about it. Suddenly in August, late August, August 30th, I started to write this thing. Well, October 18th, my website's already up there, the book's up, it's done, it's formatted, it's in downloadable. So, I used the kind of thinking that my process is about I just said, okay, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to manifest this. So here's the tie-in here. What I did is I made this without an app, just your phone, and just following, it's a downloadable book. People can set a goal for themselves. It's not up to me. I don't care what your goal is. Just, it's better if it be a good one for your own, because you're probably going to accomplish it. And then I give these steps, these self-interview steps that they do through a question-based process. And then there's certain parts of it, I don't want to give it all away, but they do a process in there that they can use on a daily basis to recharge themselves. I don't mean electrically, I mean through the, everybody's always they're looking at their phone. Nobody will know what you're doing. You'll do something productive with your phone other than talking to people, taking selfies, and downloading all sorts of crap from the internet. How about make it about yourself, not just the selfie? How about I'm going to put a book together that's always about your life. You can upgrade it, you can reuse it, you can change things, you can add questions, you can monitor your progress, because there's a daily journal. It's clever. It's the same process I was doing with people when I was, personally facilitating it. And if kids start to do this at a, age where they like playing with cameras anyhow, but if there's something they want to do or have or become in life, you start off and you do it, and you build your little thing year after year, and you see yourself accomplish stuff. And the goal isn't to stay attached to this, because at the end of my little ebook, it's all the links to Billy's books. Because the idea is, what could I do besides, talking about the Meyer case and telling people about the spiritual teaching? What if I could take something to help a person start creating a closed loop of self-authority, self-responsibility, self-awareness, self-consciousness, and moving forward? Well, I already have that process. I created it. 32 years ago. Geez, what am I thinking? And that what got me to go, put future self out and let people do that. Whatever their background, their consciousness, religious, spiritual, philosophical thing, it doesn't matter. Because if they get in touch with themselves, you've given them the links now for Billy's teaching. And I put at the end of the thing, an important note, the most important books you could read. It isn't that I'm not writing the most brilliant book ever written. I'm making an easy to use process that if you simply work with yourself, you will evolve your thinking to the place where you suddenly realize you're in charge of your life, and you mean there's stuff that really I could learn that's really going to kickstart me into consciousness? Yeah, it's called the spiritual teaching. And that's what I'm doing. You know, it's an inexpensive, downloadable book. We have it as a soft cover up on Amazon too. Do something, because we talked about the coming times and all this stuff. There's going to be overwhelming things that happen in different places and sectors and times in different people's lives. Get used to tapping into your inner wisdom. That's what this is about. Yes, it really is sharp. It has you acknowledge that you need other people. Has you acknowledge that there can be outside resources. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this all myself. No. It's just about how you respond. Self-responsibility. Dang. It's one clever piece of work. And I want people to go and play with that. It's fun. I did it on myself. There's stuff in there where you can work with video while you're doing this in a kind of multi-dimensional way. It's $10. Go download it and start doing this. Within 2 days, I had 3 testimonials up there. Now I think there's other people that are working it. They're not in such a rush to give a testimony. Take your time. It works if you work it, like anything in life. It's just systematized so you can do this. You can start your day where your baseline is your high point. And you can keep changing your high point, which means you can keep changing your baseline for each day. Whoa. Then when you get that this is all inside of you anyway, you wake up each day and you tune yourself to that frequency. I call it the frequency of fulfillment. You can use this with meditation, as a meditation, with anything you're doing. You bring yourself to optimal state within 30 seconds or longer if you want to make it a longer self-meditation. And then it's just kind of like you get used to it. That's the frequency of fulfillment. You're not waiting to feel happy in the world. You're already in that place. You're going forward in a place of fulfillment. You can't miss if you carry that forward. I don't know how many people will get the book. I hope the whole world does. We could change it because we'd be directing people to self-empowerment, not with a bunch of mumbo-jumbo new age. Now here's 36 techniques for you to, have self-mastery and attain everything you want in your life. Why is it different? Because this is a closed loop. You're not taking this from somebody else. And it will work because your inner wisdom is there, and you will know then what you need outside of yourself to make your own. Honestly, I'm going to, publicize this one because this I can, as a personal creation, I'm unhesitatingly endorsing it. And there's a link in the ebook to the Standing in the Spirit, the Consciousness Workshop, because I even say it in the book, if you get to this place and you don't know how to resolve this, click on this link and get the Standing in the Spirit Workshop, because that'll work you through it. And now I see in my own crazy cosmology, it's like some people said, well, was that really your future self? I don't know, the odds are against it. It's just some part of I said, look, here's the whole thing. Think about this. You go to sleep at night and you have dreams, right? Everybody's got them. Not everybody remembers. When you remember, you have these multicolored universes. You can fly. You can do this. You create love affairs and all this stuff. Now you're awake. Sit down. Try and make that happen right now. You get maybe 3 seconds, and your mind, you can't do it. Let's just face it. Maybe there's some meditators that are really good, and they can do that. But there's a part of our consciousness, our unconscious, whatever you want to call it, that creates universes while we sleep. And they're real to us very often when we're there. Now, some kooky part of my mind tells us, I'm your future self. Okay, whatever. Or, ask your spirit to show you the core of your pattern. So, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to be creative with it. That's the point. Get creative with your life. The creation. Folks, stop just being passive consumers of vast volumes of garbage with some good stuff mixed in, but vast volumes of garbage that don't move you forward in your life. Sorry, when stuff goes down and you're going, well, what do I do now? There are practical things maybe you bypassed because you're downloading irrelevancy. You're worrying about conspiracies and stuff instead of taking care of stuff. So, what was that? I don't know, but I used it. Like Billy said, well, when people who hear voices are schizophrenic, yes, most of them are. I might have been nuts at that point. But also then he said, well, there's a certain inspiration that we hear. Yes, so I was also inspired. But this gives you an opportunity. If you're going to hear your voice, you can go face to face with yourself and know that you're doing this consciously. And then you're falling more and more, I like that, falling into your own realization of your ability to create and to stay on target. And now, wait a minute, someone says, go there. Pick up the way to live. Pick up the psyche, the might of the thoughts, the goblet of the truth, the Talmud of Emmanuel, the Decalogue. Then there's no stopping you. Now, I'm not saying people can't just pick up the spiritual teaching. I sell the books myself. I get it out there. People are in it. I want to reach as many people as possible. And if they don't get to Billy's stuff, but they take control of their life more and start to prioritize peace, love, freedom, harmony, the environment, the life, that's a win. There it is.